when my grandson last year, really, he sat down with Nancy Thompson and myself, and we were talking about Alex Haley. The Thompson family has been in Blue Island for over 100 years. They're supposed to be one of the first black families that was here. And she was telling me that her mother-in-law, Pearl Parker, that she was a direct relative of Alex Haley. She already knew about Kunta Kinte, you know, and Roots and all of that. And my grandson turned around, Justin, you want to stand up? He turned around, he said, why you never did a program on Alex Haley? I said, I don't know. I said, I said, we'll do the next one on it. You know, I said, shame on me. You know, because that's not only our history, black history, it's Blue Island history, you know. I live on the north side of Blue Island, and the houses that they bought, they own 3 houses down there. I used to go down there just to be nosy. They had the most beautiful yard you ever seen, you know, so I'll pull up in front of the house and be peeping behind the house to see what's up. But back to Andre, we wanted to keep it kind of in-house. This time we wanted someone who loved Blue Island like we did to give this presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome our poet, Andre Ware.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I like that. And I say, good evening, everyone, again.
Good evening.
I just like to feel the energy. I love energy. Actually, first of all, I want to thank God. I want to thank God for allowing me this opportunity to utilize my gift. Secondly, I want to welcome my mom, acknowledge my mom, because she's with me along this journey and this experience. You know, I was sitting over there thinking, before I actually go into this presentation, and I was just watching. I like to watch people. I observe, and I was looking at the faces, and I was like, wow, it's beautiful. I'm looking at all these beautiful people, and then that's when the Spirit was like, these are ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Nobody's gift is more better than the other. We're all ordinary people just doing extraordinary things. And I was like, wow. That's an encouragement. I'm like, thank you. So I had to share that with you. Also, I would like to thank Rachel Roscoe, Alderman Thompson, and Neighborhood Watch 37 for allowing me this opportunity in this historical event as we honor the life and legacy of Alex Haley. For Justin, that's what you did. That was a good idea. Because what I've learned, it made me feel good as an author. So I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have within our midst one of the first families, the first black families that lived in Blue Island for over 100 years. Anthony Thompson and his wife, and the Honorable Alderman Thompson. Would you please stand just so we can acknowledge you? Thank you. Thank you. Be seated.
Hold on one moment. I got a picture of Pearl Parker and her daughter, and I wanted to present these pictures. The pictures, I told the lady when I was giving copies of them, I said, these pictures are almost 100 years old, don't break them, you know? So I want to give this to the family of Nancy Thompson and Andy. I want to get Andy a copy. Every once in a while, at least once, Black History time, this is Nancy Thompson's son, Robert Thompson, and he did pro football, just so that you'll know. If you look at Eisenhower, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Now you see why this is an honor for me to participate in this event, particularly in Blue Island, because I did learn a lot. These are the descendants of Pearl Parker, the first cousin of Alex Haley, the one that you just met. Pearl Parker was born on January 11, 1912 in Henning, Tennessee. Pearl's mother, Emma Brown, and father, Edmund Parker, were married in the 1900s, and from this marriage, 6 children were born, 4 girls and 2 boys. Pearl was raised by her father and older siblings after the death of her mother, Emma Brown. Pearl met and married William Thompson, formerly known as Bill. She was 15 years old and obtained consent from her father to be married. Pearl and William moved to 2007 West 120th Street here in Blue Island. The two of them birthed 11 children. And out of the 11 children, the remaining living offsprings are Richard and Anthony. From the stories passed down, Pearl Parker is related to Alex Haley, the author of Roots. She often spoke of Kunta Kinte as her African relative and how she related to the Parker family that owned the sawmill as depicted in the book Roots, a descendant of Kunta Kinte whom is buried in Henning, Tennessee. The life and legacy of Alex Haley. Haley was born August 11, 1921 in Ithaca, New York. Birth to his mother, Bertha Haley, aka Nee Palmer, his father, Simon Haley, a professor of agriculture at Alabama A&M University. His birth name, Alexander Murray Palmer Haley. Haley was the oldest of 3 brothers and sisters. They all lived in Henning, Tennessee. Haley died February 10, 1992 in Seattle, Washington. Haley attempted to follow his father's footsteps by pursuing his education. At age 15, Alex Haley attended Alcorn University in Mississippi, also attended Elizabeth City State College in North Carolina. Alex withdrew from college, and although his father was disappointed, he remained instrumental in his life and encouraged him to pursue a military career at age 18. Now I want to make a note here. Apparently, education was important among the descendants of Kunta Kinte, along with owning property. So all you family members, especially you fathers, play a role in your kids' life. It's very instrumental. It's very important. It's what's going on out in society today. It's important that we actually just show that we care and love them if we're trying to keep our legacy alive. Haley's Coast Guard career. May 24, 1939, Alex Haley began his 20 career in the U.S. Coast Guard. He enlisted as a mess attendant. Eventually, he was promoted to Petty Officer 3rd Class, rated as a steward. This was one of the few openings to African Americans during that time. While serving, Haley taught himself the craft of writing stories at the Pacific Theater of Operations. To show you how good he was, sailors would actually pay him to write love letters to their girlfriends. He was a bad man. After World War II, Haley petitioned the Coast Guard to transfer him into journalism. By 1949, he became Petty Officer First Class journalist. Eventually, he became the first chief journalist in the Coast Guard until he retired in 1959. Now keep in mind, this position was created specifically for his literary ability. Now, out of curiosity, just by show of hands, I'm just curious, I like to engage the crowd. How many medals do you think he received from the Coast Guard? Just throw some numbers out, just 3. Well, that's sad. He received 7 medals from the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard Good Medal, the American Defense Service Medal, the American Campaign Medal, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, World War II Victory Medal, Korean Service Medal, and the United Nations Service Medal. Apparently, Haley had good work ethics, which is something we need today as well, especially as black men. His literary career. Just out of curiosity, I'm just curious. How many newspaper articles do you think he wrote?
100.
See, I like that. He only did one newspaper article, 8 interviews, and he wrote 2 books. After retiring from the U.S. Coast Guard, Haley continued his journalist career as a senior editor at Reader's Digest magazine. Haley wrote an article about his brother's George struggle to succeed as one of the first African-American students at the Southern Law School. Haley conducted the following interviews for Playboy. He interviewed jazz musician Miles Davis, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., George Lincoln Rockwell, the leader of the American Nazi Party, Muhammad Ali, Sammy Davis Jr., Jim Brown, Johnny Carson, as well as Quincy Jones. Haley's first book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X, published in 1965. It described the trajectory of Malcolm X's life from street criminal to national spokesman for the Nation of Islam. The New York Times reported Malcolm X as a consistent bestseller, as 6 million copies of the book were sold by 1977. How many of you actually have read or owned a copy of Roots? I'm gonna share this story right quick. When Roots first came out, I was watching it with my mom. I remember she was eating fruit, and I'm laying on the floor. And when they got to the part where they cut off his foot, that was the first time my mom heard me curse. I remember saying, I was like, damn. And my mom was like, what did you say? I said, dog. I was like, she was probably thinking it. Alex Haley published Roots, the saga of an American family, in 1976. It was based on his family's history going back to slavery. It started with Kunta Kinte, he was kidnapped from Gambia in 1767 and transported to Maryland and sold as a slave. The Lord Legionnaire was the name of the ship that carried the slaves. It took Haley about 12 years of research, which included intercontinental travel and writing as well. He traveled to Jafur, the village of Kunta, and listened to the stories being told. An emotional moment for Haley was on September 29, 1967, when he stood at the site of Annapolis, Maryland, where his ancestors arrived 200 years ago. Haley claimed to be the 7th generation descendant of Kunta Kinte. His ethnicity consists of African American, Mandinka, Cherokee, and Scottish. Roots was eventually published in 37 languages and was acknowledged as a popular TV series by ABC. Approximately 130 million viewers watched the series. Its popularity sparked an increase in public interest in genealogy. In 1979, ABC aired Roots, The Next Generation, a continual story of Kunta Kinte's descendants. During the 1970s, Haley began working on Queen, his grandmother. He didn't have a chance to finish the book due to his death in Seattle, Washington, of a heart attack. Haley was buried in Henry, Tennessee, next to his childhood home. At his request, the book of Alex Haley Queen was finished by David Stevens. Before Haley's death, he acquired a small farm in Clinton, Tennessee. He lived there until his death. After his death, the land was sold to the Children's Defense Fund, aka Alex Haley Farm. This nonprofit organization uses the farm as a retreat site and training center. Got another question for you, just out of curiosity. How many awards do you think Haley received? Just out of curiosity. 17. Actually, he received 4 and 2 recognitions. The Anisfield Wolf Book Award, a special Pulitzer Prize, the Spingarn Medal from the NAACP, the Korean War Service Medal. Also, the Coast Guard named the cutter USCGC in Haley's honor, as well as they named their food service building after Haley, which is located in Petaluma, California. Now, we all know about his works. Out of curiosity, this is the last curiosity. Can you name some of his works that he did besides the book Roots? Just out of curiosity. Okay. Superfly, TNT. Yeah, that's what I said. A Different Kind of Christmas, Never Turn Back, Father Sarah's Mission, and Mama Flora's Family. I know y'all remember that one. You know, in conclusion, from author to author, if Alex Haley was here today, what I would like to share with him, and I read this to you. It's a poem that I've written. Why must we succumb to this, watching the violence within our midst? Pain and sorrow is what we engage, causing our families to live with rage. Our society is filled with guilt and shame, but don't point the finger because we are to blame. Our children are hurting, and that we see, thanks to drugs and guns, as well as you and me. We fail to love and give them hope as their world becomes filled with dope. We fail to teach them the value of life as our communities encounter the various strife. We took them away from God, and that wasn't a good thing to do. That is self-evident because this tragedy could have happened to you. The church gave them away, now the devil lurks as they are being led astray. We the people must be in tune. We cannot wait, and it must be soon. Stricter gun laws must be passed, or I assure you, this funeral will not be the last. The streets must be safe, and we must do our part. If we don't act now, then it will never start. Peace.